Welcome everybody. It's good to see so much people today from different places in the world. Today it's a technical swing committee of SEAPATH. This is kind of a special one in a way that the last months we were having some feedbacks from the community, especially from the TSC voting members, and of course also from the strategic members of the project. You may know that we were visiting RTE also lastly, and of course for the maintainers of the projects. And the goal is to draft the ideas we do have in mind for the next months, let's say this year's regarding SEAPATH, and to of course to get some feedbacks from the community and to see how as a community we can tackle different topics and make sure that we can have innovative projects. This is very important for us to keep going and to go with the market. So that's the reason why, of course, we do have a time at the end of these presentations to get some feedbacks from you and maybe to see who could help us to work on different topics. Okay. So like usually, the antitrust policy is very important. To keep it short, and this is the framework of Linux Foundation. To keep it short, we want to have a neutral place here where we want to discuss. It's not the place to speak about money or to speak about your product. It's a place to speak about SEAPATH and see how we can work together. Okay. If you need, of course, more information, you can check linuxfoundation.org antitrust policy link. The agenda is very simple, but very important. So I would like, of course, to thank all the different people from the TSC voting members that interact with me to get some feedbacks and to get some items regarding the roadmap. So I would like to thank people from Schneider, people from GE Vernova, people from Verotech, and people from RTE. And of course, it's a community effort. So if you have some remarks, I'm glad to hear that. Okay. The first items that was identified, and let's say it's something that it's common to every open source software, is to manage a project lifecycle. You may know that Ceph Ansible is deprecated and we need to replace it. So the goal is to use Safe ADM to manage Ceph correctly. We also want to move to Debian 11, Debian 13, sorry, because that will be the next stable release. So it will be all the time an ongoing task. And there is some questioning regarding continuous integrations that is very important for the project. How to refactor that, how to accelerate tests, how to make sure we can factorize them, and maybe also how to figure out what could be the maturity of the CI. You know that this is key for the projects. This is key for substations to make sure that at the end the product we're gonna run will be, of course, running as expected. So that's the purpose of CI. So this is something that we can work together. The next topic regarding the project lifecycle, it's like let's say like every open source software is to update the documentation. There is many documentations, and I had the feedback that probably we do have too much documentations, but it depends how you see it. We believe that we should actually reorder the documentations according to personas. It's not the same if you are a new user that would like just to play with SEAPATH, or if you are a developer, if you are a software provider, or if you are a hardware provider. Let me be clear on that. It's not easy because, for instance, I was the first committer on SEAPATH, so sometimes I'm too close to the source code, let's say, and it's hard to document that correctly. And it's the same for many people on the project, and it's the same for many people in open source software. So that's also the good occasions. I see new faces today. Thanks again. I invite you, and it's good to have you here. You have definitely some inputs, some useful inputs for us as a user, for instance, to make the documentations easy to understand. Okay.
A quick question here, Lloyd, or maybe before questions at the end.
Sorry, David, I didn't get it.
Yeah, why are we why are we putting in the new version of Ceph ADM? Is it also using Ansible, the new version of
Yes.
Ceph? And it has been deprecated by who? By the open source community? Or
Yes. Maybe Florent or Erwan, I think, or Mathieu as a maintainers, you want to explain that?
Yes, maybe I can try to put
Yes.
an overview of the subject. So Ceph Ansible is maintained by the community, is maintained by some Ceph people. And 1 year ago, I think they officially put an end to the project. So they basically just released a new version telling we will not do any bug fix or something like that. And many people were coming to the project after that saying, we need you guys. It's really important for us. You cannot just deprecate the project now. And so the maintainers come back to the project, and basically what they are telling is that we are trying to keep the project going, but we cannot guarantee that we will have the time to do that. So the project is almost deprecated, meaning that it will not have some security update, it will not have some bug fixes in the future. And if we want to use the safe deployment tool in a critical environment, we need to use a tool that is well maintained and well the bug fixes are corrected and the security issues are corrected and so on. So that's why we need to move to a new version, because this one is not so stable and so much maintained today.
So my question is, or my next question is about, imagine that we already have a large number of SEAPATH hypervisors installed in substations. What would we have to do what would we need to say to those customers if this was to happen right now? Would we have to say, hey, Ceph Ansible has been deprecated, but we don't need to do anything right now until we hear about a cybersecurity vulnerability or a really important software bug? Or alternatively, would the best practice be to make a new version of a new image of the CPAth, make a new compilation and make a change to the installed hypervisors? What would be the recommendation?
I think it's not an easy question, but that's a good one, David. Luckily, we are still in a way where we have like a very small amount of substations that are using CPaaS in productions, but that's definitely something we need to consider. So there is two options. The easy one would be to say, okay, we will move to Ceph ADM and we will not support any more Ceph Ansible. Will be easy for the project in a way that at the end, there is no support to be done and there is some use cases to consider. Shall we consider to maintain both Ceph ADM, Ceph Ansible? To be honest with you, I don't know. I think it's an effort on the project. This might be decisions of the TSC to check that. Right now, what I will consider is first of all is to check what is the effort to use Ceph ADM, and maybe we can also technically think about the effort to maintain Ceph Ansible. And depending on that, of course, we could see, okay, is it something we can do or not? But it's not my decision, of course, it's a decision of the TSC. Do I answer to your questions, David?
Yeah.
Can I also quickly chime in here?
Yeah, sure, David. Daniel.
Yeah, so there was also the question about recompiling new images, and that would not be necessary, of course, because what we're changing here is like Ceph ADM, that is like the management layer for Ceph, right? We're not changing anything about Ceph. So yes. It's just about the access to the network storage solution on the CPaaS cluster, not so much about the software itself, like management part that is targeted, not the actual software.
Yes, that's a good point to mention. Yeah. But of course, if you want to make it good, we will need to test it. So that's more like where I want to focus. So shall we skip testings with Ceph and Siebel or not? But let's. It's a bit technical, but let's see that afterwards. But that's a good point, David and Daniel. Thank you. So regarding the documentation, I think it was clear. Now the next topic is to organize SEAPATH demo. This is more open, I would say. So the idea is to have like a demonstrator. There is different views, to be honest with you. Some people consider that we can have like a kind of online demonstrator to play with VM clusters or others. There is also a need to have like a demo that are for different shows that will come this year, where we could involve the different hardware manufacturers, software providers, and so on. But it's of course important for the projects to have like a way to demonstrate what we can do to people and to make sure that they can play with it quite easy. Okay, so if you are of course interested by that, we can definitely organize working groups on that. Okay. The next topic, and this is an important feedbacks I had talking with different people, it's to make sure that we can have a smooth starting of SEAPATH installation of SEAPATH. The first step is to have like a very small documentations for beginners to quick start SEAPATH and to have something running without dealing with so much configurations. That could be also to identify some reference hardware you can play with. It's also something very open. And also we identify that once the first step you want to have installing SEAPATH is to have like a very, very minimal set of configurations. The networking configurations, making sure that you can define your IP address or keep DHCP or whatever's. Also provide your SSH keys and provide some guidance regarding the disk installations. And actually, you would probably need to have that without generating all the time a new ISO file, but to have like these minimal configurations so that at the end, you can play with Ansible to continue installations and do very specific topics. This is something that it's important to me because I want to make sure that people that evaluate SEAPATH at the first step can have a good experience and can have like a real good feedbacks so that at the end they can continue. And of course, we can have some issues, some missing configurations, but that's important to mitigate that. Okay. Last but not least, I also had the feedbacks to say that, okay, Ansible, it's very interesting, of course. That's a very nice engine. But for some people also, it might be interesting to have like an abstraction UI to manage that. I don't know exactly where we can go, to be honest. I know that there is different technologies that could do that. Shall we just document what is existing? Shall we implement something? Shall we do demonstrations? It's really open, but it's something that might be useful for some users. Okay. Any comments on that? Questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes.
Right. So that, like, are we talking about in the last point here? Are we talking about like the tools to deploy the cluster, right? Not to orchestrate or not to deploy the workloads afterwards, but really when we provision the cluster. Are you talking about this part?
Yes. I mean, of course, it's open, Alexander. The first step will be, to configure the cluster and to make sure that you can orchestrate the playbooks. So I know that, for instance, Red Hat is having its own solutions. It can be one of the solutions, but there is also maybe others to consider. To answer to your question, shall we have like another technologies then to monitor? That could be also something, but it's not the case of this bullet
Yeah,
point.
right. I just wanted to like have a clear understanding, because then it's kind of aligns all together, all these 3 points, to kind of a zero touch provisioning perspective, right? So basically, that's what you want, kind
Yes.
of a zero touch provisioning, or like one touch provisioning, whatever. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Some
And
comments, questions.
also, just to add to your question, Alexander, regarding virtual machines provisioning and cluster in order to see the cluster on the state of the cluster, we already have a graphical solution which is based on cockpits, and we have written plugins for SEAPATH to deploy machines on the cluster. So this part is already done. Maybe there are some improvement to do, but here what we aims to is to have a tool, yes, for deploying the cluster, deploying SEAPATH in general, and not managing the VM afterwards.
Yeah, I agree with you, Erwan, but it's also important to mention that the philosophy of SEAPATH is to use Ansible to do most of this task so that we can scale. I mean, Cockpit, it's a nice tool. It's a graphical one, but of course, the drawback of this tool is it is manual operation. So if you want to deploy, I don't know, 10 VMs on 200 substations, that might take some times, and it's a source of mistakes or whatever. So Ansible is still the engine to do those operations. We don't want to use other solutions than Ansible. There is also some people that are not very familiar with Ansible, and maybe that could be a good way to abstract the tool. Okay. I'm not saying that Cockpit is not good, but it's maybe something that could be used only for demos, local management. But if you want to scale, you can have some issues, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So maybe I once more toss again Ansible Tower into the ring, and would that not be the right choice of a sort of semi-visual, hands-on, less code approach for the scenario that you just described, like pushing
Yes.
Ansible code across a multitude of installations?
Yes, that might be. That's one of the solutions we do have in mind. I just don't want to push one technology because I want to make sure that we can check. I know that, for instance, Ansible Tower is quite heavy in terms of installations development. We were already playing with that, but I know that some people are already using that. I'm open to the discussion, of course. We need to check that, but that's of course one of the technologies that should be considered. Okay.
Yeah, fine.
Good. Then we want to of course to integrate new hardware and new software. That's important as an open source project to create an ecosystems. We want to make sure that we can have documentations on prerequisites so that we can integrate correctly hardware and software on that, and have more integrations with different vendors. It's so that people that could have like SEAPATH running as, for instance, utilities, they could have like different or ready to go software solutions to consider. Okay. Questions? This is obvious to me, but if you do have questions, of course, feel free. Then it's the next step of evolution. You know that SEAPATH is hardware agnostic. It's very important, and you know also that there is some interesting platforms powered by ARM64 coming. Not only on the energy sectors, we see big tractions on that. So that's something we want to evaluate, of course. Could it be like traditional embedded devices that are already running on SEAPATH? Yes. Or could it be like more like big servers, similar to Intel based? That's also the choice. So yeah, let's say that we want to check that, and we want to make sure that SEAPATH is running correctly on that and evaluate the performances and so on. Something also that was input by different people is to have the implementation of role-based access control, airbag. So this is something that might be required by some regulations. For instance, IEC 62351, but it's something that it's still on draft, so we need to be careful. So the question is just, okay, to evaluate that, to see what we can do, and depending on that, to have some actions, okay? Last but
sorry, maybe you mentioned, but who is interested in using SEAPATH on ARM64, and could we realistically expect the same deterministic performance on a chipset which is principally built for low power consumption rather than the high performance and low latencies?
That's a good question, David, and it's not easy to tackle, to be honest. So ARM64 could be something that with only 4 cores, only for a couple of embedded devices. There is already a support on that with NXP chipsets, for instance, on SEAPATH. But you might have some other technologies that are up to 128 cores, for instance. So this is definitely something that could be tackled and that could be interesting, even in terms of real time, the performances and so on. I don't have any strong opinion to provide to you regarding the performance, but I think that we need to check that, and if we don't check, we cannot see if it works. I don't know if someone in the community have some other comments to bring. I know that I saw Jeremy. You send a message, right? Jeremy Anderson from.
Yeah, we're interested in doing some real small potential ARM64 running SEAPATH maybe on it to deploy our virtual RTU on. So it's something that we see some use case for.
Cool. I'm pretty sure that some other people might be interested as well. So, you know what? I present a draft. I let you think, and people that would like to be involved, we can define working groups and see who can work on different topics. Okay. Thanks, Jeremy, and thanks all the people. Thanks, David. So the airbag is something I mentioned, and last but not least, the use of containers on SEAPATH. This is a big question, of course. Right now, we are focusing on virtualization. You know that there is some definitely some strengths regarding the isolation of virtual machines, but there is of course some drawback regarding performances. So we would like to consider: is it something that we can use on SEAPATH? What is how we can have like the clustering with containers? What is the technologies that could be used, and so on? So that's something that it's good to evaluate. I see that Alexander, you are saying a comment. Yes, of course, IMX8 is not good for primary substations, but it's also something that could be considered to other substations like secondary substations with less real-time concerns. But if you want to have like a more powerful, you can have ARM64 with a lot of cores that are already by major industries. Okay.
Sorry, like that's not what I meant. I'm not talking about the cores here. I'm talking about the architecture. If you check the architecture of SoC, it has auto shared cache. So you cannot do the workload pinning because it doesn't matter where you pin it. Workloads on other CPUs will basically affect or cause a cache eviction. So it's not really usable for any RT workload, like even single RT workload.
But that's, is that like core specific? Like, I don't know what the IMX8 uses. Like, is it A53 or A72 core?
No.
Like that?
No, it's not
Or is that
core.
ARM64 in general?
No. That's SoC specific. So you can
SoC
have
specific. Okay.
you can have other SoC based on the same A53. I'm not sure A72 ones, for example, and it will have a dedicated L2 cache. I mean, it's SoC designer and
Yeah.
design specific.
Got it.
Okay.
So you know what? That's why it's here. It's to evaluate. So maybe we can have like a discussions, a test, and say, okay, this is not working. This is not for us. But if we don't provide to the community this exercise, these questions will come back, and people say, okay, why you are not using that? And we can simply document, okay, right now this is not compatible for us for this and this and these reasons. Okay. But thanks for your input, Alexander. So
Right, sorry, you mentioned that the containers could be used on applications that maybe did not have the same real-time requirement, but I also have the impression that we would not need to expect any performance penalty using containers on SEAPATH. We would be able to get the same real-time low latencies and deterministic performance with containers. Maybe
yes,
the only drawback would be the maybe unsuitability of multi-vendor protections on the same system. But
yes.
could you expand a little bit on what you meant about their suitability more for non-real-time applications?
I'm not sure to understand the last questions, but what you said before was totally right. There is no impacts regarding real-time with containers, and it can be something that can be used. And mainly, the market is more going with containers for mono vendors, simply because there is a fear of non-isolations with container, because you are, for instance, sharing the same Linux kernel. At the end, could it be something that could be considered? It's also a question of markets. It's a question of reliability, many questions. But here we are here to speak technically. So yes, it could be used, and then maybe we can combine containers and VMs. To be honest, I don't know, but it's something that was requested by the community to evaluate that and to see what we can do, what we cannot do. And of course, I let people then see where they want to go in terms of market and so on. That's not the place here to discuss about that. To answer to your questions, David.
Yes, thanks. Thanks so much.
Okay. So that's all. That's the topics we do have in mind. So I don't know if you have some questions regarding the content first of all. Okay. I think now our goal is to define some working groups so that we can actually split the work and make sure that we can have many people involved. I know that some of you are in this meeting are quite new, and this is not very simple to and easy to interact with people you don't know. That could be actually your competitors, but that's the way open source works, and that's the success of open source. So please don't be shy and count on me on that. Again, it's a neutral place. So what I would suggest is maybe to these presentations will be shared, and actually it's already recorded, and the record will be available. What I would suggest is to define some working groups. I will send a message on the SEAPATH mailing list in the next days, so that we can define working groups, and some people that are interested could answer to me. So the working groups are quite easy. It's who wants to be involved in project lifecycle, who wants to be involved in the SEAPATH demo, who want to be involved in getting started in installer features, in integrating hardware and software, and evaluation evolutions. And of course, you can just say that I want to work on that. Okay. But that's something important. Do you have some? Hi, Alexander. Do you have some questions, comments on that?
Eloy,
Yes.
do you need the answer today?
No. I think it's good that you can think about my point. Sorry, someone is just cutting the grass.
Value season.
Yeah, it's almost summer in France now. No. Of course, you know this presentation is very new to you. I want to let you think about that, maybe to check with your management or whatever.
Yeah.
But I would like to make sure that we can involve people in this discussion. So I will send that very soon and get your feedbacks. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Maxime, you want to speak?
Yes, maybe just to say that congratulations for this great work. I think they're very good items, and a lot of them are expected by new actors and historical actors using that wants to use SEAPATH. So it's a good work. And from RT part, I think we have to have some time to consider these items and decide which one we want to be part of it, and give you the feedback next.
Sure. So let's say that we have one TSC every month. That will be very good to define working groups for next TSC and to make sure that we can then tackle the different works. Okay. So again, you can be part of a working group and just, change one line in the documentation. There is no commitment. We are open to everybody. Of course, we would like you to do many contributions, but it's fine also just to come to check. We just want to have people that are, open and doing like collaborative work. And at the end, we just want to have this done. Okay, so please don't be shy and come so that we can work together. Okay, that's all for me. If you have that was short but efficient. If you have some question, comments, feel free right now to ask. Otherwise, we can drop.
I think for next meeting, it would be interesting and important to share what are the next events that will be organized this year. Will be present. Want to give a demo or a paper or talk or something to share it.
Yeah. Maxime, I think you are touching your screen and that's your microphone here. That's good. Yes, definitely. And you know what? Just to, it's a good reminder. On GitHub, there is a board where you can actually put the different topics you would like to be addressed next TSC. I will just send you that right now on the chat. If you have some ideas, some stuff you would like to be mentioned next TSC, you can just add some tickets, and that's good for me and for us to and this was actually already done. Sorry for that. To make sure that we can put that on the agenda. But if you don't mind, Maxime, can you add a ticket on that? And that will be something definitely interesting for the TSC to see how we can work together. Okay?
Yes.
You may know also that a LinkedIn page was created quite recently. I made the exercise to put some advertisements on the LinkedIn and to make sure that everybody's aware. And I think it's good because we have many people here. That's very nice. This event is recorded, and actually I will see with LF how we can have like the record available on YouTube or whatever, so that we can share that on LinkedIn as well to involve more people in the community. Okay. Yair, you have a question.
Um, more of a small topic. So since the CentOS Stream CI is finally up and working, I was wondering if we can now say that the CentOS is officially supported on SEAPATH, and if so, can we have the documentation amended and have maybe a message about this somewhere, say the LinkedIn page you just created and want to use and get some content on?
Yes, that's a good question. First of all, thank you for your work, Yair. I think it was long but not easy. That's really interesting to have, of course, a support. To be completely transparent with you, I'm a bit concerned with the lack of testing. I mean, compared to, for instance, Debian, I was expecting to have more Cookinia tests running. I don't know if it's something that you can add or not.
Oh, sure, we can add them, but not right now, because most of the tests, the bulk of the Debian tests, are the hardening, and the hardening isn't in yet for CentOS Stream. So once that's in, I can add all these tests. But basically, I got all the tests that aren't hardening and repo specific. So all the ones that check APT addresses, which are not correct.
So, but I was more focusing on the hardening side. Why? To be completely fair and just let me be clear, I will be more than happy to have you and to do what you are mentioning, to modify the documentation and so on. I just want to make sure that we are aligned on the SEAPATH philosophy and what was mentioned, for instance, in the last security audit done by an external company. It's that SEAPATH demonstrates security mechanisms and made all the tests to make sure that those security mechanisms are correctly set. So that's why I'm a bit concerned, to be honest with you, with the fact that CentOS doesn't have the same maturity right now compared to some others in terms of security and in terms of security testing. So that's part of the slide also to regarding the CI maturity of CI. This is what I would like to mention. Maybe we can have and this is something I was talking with RT, to be honest with you. Maybe we can have also some different maturity, because we want, of course, to make sure that all the people are involved. So why not having basic support and more security support? I don't know how to tell that, to be honest. That could be something that could be definitely done. But I'm not the only one deciding, of course. So that's a community decision, okay? And TSC decision. So maybe you can think about that. Yeah, I wanted to send you a message, so I didn't have the time. Sorry for that, but to check what you can do regarding the testing integration, hardening integrations. Is it something that it's achievable or not? That could resolve the question. Otherwise, I'm open also to have more another way to tackle that. Okay. To answer to your question?
Yeah, about these things. So it's just a matter of time and effort. It's a matter of getting to it and doing it.
Yes.
The hardening has simply not been achieved yet. It's a matter of time.
Yeah.
I think that that maturity levels might be advisable. That might be a good idea. Yeah.
That's probably another way to make it easy to integrate. But I just want to make sure that the effort we've done regarding hardening is still something valuable for the project. Okay, that's important. Okay, so let's think about that, Yair, and we can of course check that in these working groups. Okay. Any other questions, comments? Daniel, don't be shy. I was reading what you are saying.
Yeah, you were all talking, and I was just preparing a little. Like,
Okay.
I had a manual installation of like CentOS a while ago, and I'm pretty sure that I saw all the hardening options that I also saw in the CPath repos already in there, like in the drop-down menu for the regular installation. So I'm just wondering if there's a straightforward path to get those adopted into the Ansible automation. Or if, I don't know, maybe could you?
Some of these would be trivial, just copying the same things on Debian. Others will take a bit more work. Basically, everything that's Debian and CentOS don't share the same mandatory access controls. So we'll have to change everything that's AppArmor into the equivalent SE Linux.
Yeah.
And I'll have to see what else is different. I have not gone through the entire thing. So we just have to go through it and align these things.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's CentOS Stream has all the features, right? They're not missing. We just need to write the Ansible code to configure them all equivalent. Some of them would be the same as everything between separate Linux, major Linux distributions. Others will have some difference in commands and so on, right? As in SE Linux versus AppArmor. So it's just a matter of going through the whole thing and getting it done, and maybe getting some security experts to really take a good look at it and say whether this is what you would want to do on a CentOS Stream system. Yeah, so
that would be a good
a
exercise.
test that needs to be done.
Yeah, and also don't forget to have the testing approach. It's good to have mechanisms, but it's better to test them.
Of course, they need to. Once you have it, you need to test it, and again, some of the tests will have to be amended to be compatible with the same changes. Again, for example, any test that's based on AppArmor will have to be changed, right?
Yeah. Okay, I'm aware of that. Okay, Florent, NCBP 28. Yes. What you want to say?
No, it was an answer to Daniel. He was asking about what standard we followed.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's a very interesting documentation and available in English and open. So that's a good start. Okay, and that's how the project is built around. Okay, for the moment, but we can of course integrate some other regulations. Other questions? That's fine. Great. So thanks again. See you in 1 month. Please think about that. I will send you a message. You can also, of course, join the SEAPATH mailing list. Please do not hesitate to join it. I'm usually sending message on that for the agenda and so on. That's and also to join the Slack channel. I might also add a sections very soon on LinkedIn to make sure that people knows how to join TSCs and how to join Slack and how to join the mailing list. Okay, so see you very soon and take care of you. Thanks again.
Thank you, Edouard.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Bye.